Kill with a borrowed knife, the art of making someone else do the dirty work. Let's be honest, who doesn't love delegating tasks, especially when it's something a little dirtier than getting a cup of coffee? The third stratagem from the 36 stratagems, Kill with a Borrowed Knife, takes this idea to the next level. And no, we're not talking about hiring an assistant to sort your emails. This is about grand maneuvers, where you use someone else to do the unpleasant work for you. Genius, right? Why risk your own reputation when you can shift the risk onto someone else? Kill with a Borrowed Knife teaches us that it's not always necessary to get personally involved in trouble when you can simply use someone else's resources. This isn't just cleverness, this is an art form. And let's not forget, this art was perfected by ancient Chinese strategists. So if you think manipulation is a modern invention, you're clearly missing a key part of history. What exactly does kill with a borrowed knife mean? Simply put, it means using someone else to do the task you don't want to do yourself. Sounds easy, right? Let's imagine a situation where you have a competitor you want to push out. Instead of going directly against them and risking your own reputation, you hire someone to create problems for the competitor on behalf of third parties. Or, if you're in a personal situation, instead of arguing with your neighbor about that annoying branch hanging into your yard, you could ask other neighbors to complain, neutrally, of course, about the problem. Now that's strategy. But don't think this is just a lazy tactic. Oh no, this requires creativity and strategic thinking. You have to plan, be a mental chess player, predicting the moves of all the players. While your competition deals with the problems you've created at a safe distance, of course, you can sit back and enjoy the show, as if you're just an innocent bystander to the chaos. The strategic significance of kill with a borrowed knife. At first glance, this might seem like a coward's tactic. Why don't you face your enemy head-on, you might ask, to which I'd respond, why would I do that when I can use someone else to handle them for me? Avoiding direct confrontation isn't cowardice, it's a smart move. It's like chess. Why sacrifice the queen when you can use the knight?
If you're enjoying the content and find it helpful, we'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This will truly help us grow and allow us to provide even better videos that you can benefit from. Thank you so much for your support.
This stratagem teaches finesse. It shows us that sometimes it's better to be behind the scenes, pulling the strings, than to be on stage taking all the hits. Using a borrowed knife is a perfect example of how we can manipulate our surroundings, exploiting the weaknesses of others. Not to mention, this leaves far fewer traces of your involvement if things go south. What, me? I had nothing to do with it. Of course, it's not just about making people do your dirty work. This strategy also involves the skill of identifying the right person or group to carry out the task. Not everyone is suitable for the job. You need to choose someone who is either motivated by their own interest or someone who doesn't even realize they're part of a larger plan. This requires precision like surgery, but with a bit more manipulation. Historical example. How about a little borrowed help? A classic example of this stratagem in history. How about the Warring States period in ancient China? One of the most famous cases is that of the state of Chu, which used external tribes to attack its neighboring enemies. Instead of directly entering the battle and risking their own army, Chu manipulated these tribes to attack their enemies. And, of course, when the dust settled, who came out stronger? Yep, Chu, without even getting their hands dirty. They just stood on the sidelines watching as the hired soldiers did all the work. Now imagine you're in a business situation. Why engage in a direct clash with a competitor when you can encourage a third party, say, a new company trying to break into the market, to fight your rival? While they duke it out, you gain time, resources, and most importantly, you remain neutral. Brilliant, right? Modern example, business and manipulation. In modern business, kill with a borrowed knife might seem like the perfect tactic for those who love to delegate, but delegation here is on a whole new level. Imagine you're competing with another company for a major client. Instead of going head-to-head with your competitor, you do something clever. You hire an external marketing agency to create neutral reports highlighting your competitor's market weaknesses. These reports don't come out under your name, of course. The agency does all the heavy lifting, while you just watch as your competitor scrambles to deal with the independent criticisms. There are more ways to apply this strategy. For example, if you want to get rid of an annoying colleague instead of engaging in direct confrontation, you can subtly encourage other colleagues to raise the issue with management. They may not even realize they're part of your genius plan, while you sit back with a sly, sarcastic smile as everything unfolds. Applying kill with a borrowed knife in everyday life. Let's leave behind the military and business strategies for a moment and focus on everyday life, where this stratagem can work wonders. Imagine you have a neighbor who loves to make noise at all hours of the day. Instead of confronting them directly, which could lead to inevitable neighborhood tension, why not ask other neighbors, who are also annoyed, to make the complaint? You're like the conductor of a symphony of discontent, as everyone around you voices their complaints, while you enjoy the peace and quiet, without saying a word. Another example, your friends are pressuring you to organize the next big gathering, but you know that means a lot of work, and why should you carry the load alone? Instead of refusing directly and risking your relationships, you suggest a brilliant idea. How about we all pitch in with the organization, but just casually propose another person who secretly loves taking on challenges? Before they realize it, they've taken control of everything and you enjoy the event as a guest. Psychological aspects of the stratagem. Now that we understand the basics of kill with a borrowed knife, let's dive into the psychology behind this approach. Using someone else to carry out your actions may seem manipulative, and yes, let's be honest, it is. But that's what makes it so effective. People love to believe they're in control of the situations around them. This stratagem plays with that illusion. You let others think they're acting on their own accord, while in reality, you're pulling the strings behind the scenes. In a way, kill with a borrowed knife is the perfect blend of delegation and manipulation. You delegate the task, letting others handle the problem, while you maintain control over the outcome. And the best part? If something goes wrong, you can calmly throw your hands up and say, "I had nothing to do with it. Someone else has already taken the hit for you." Historical example, hiring foreign armies. One of the best historical examples of this stratagem is the use of mercenary armies. Ancient empires often hired foreign soldiers to fight for them. Why sacrifice your own people when you can pay others to do the work? The ancient Greeks and Romans, for example, frequently used mercenaries to handle the unpleasant tasks on the battlefield. Even these civilizations, known for their strong armies, understood the advantages of having someone else take on the more dangerous roles. If things don't go according to plan, the losses are minimal, both in terms of manpower and morale. But if the mercenaries succeed, you've just executed brilliant leadership without exposing yourself to much risk. Genius, right? Modern example, politics and lobbying. Want a modern example? Look no further than politics. Let's be real. Lobbyists are the perfect example of the borrowed knife. Politicians often hire lobbyists or external consultants to push a policy or idea. Instead of getting directly involved and risking their image, they use these independent voices to do the heavy lifting. You stay behind the scenes while your borrowed hands fight for your interests in the political arena. If things go well, the politician emerges victorious, but if not, they can distance themselves from the process and claim no involvement. The evidence that politics hasn't changed much since ancient times is right there. Only instead of swords and armies, we now use speeches and PR campaigns. How to apply kill with a borrowed knife in your career. In the workplace, this stratagem can be particularly useful for those who know how to play the corporate game. For example, you have an idea for a project, but you know that if you propose it directly, it might not be accepted. Instead, you share the idea with a colleague who is closer to the boss or has more influence in the department. Your colleague presents the idea as their own. It gets accepted, and you quietly watch from the sidelines as everyone wins. Or let's say there are conflicts in the office, but you don't want to get directly involved. Instead, you let others take responsibility for resolving the situation. While they deal with the tension, you remain neutral and keep your image as the person who stays out of office politics. Conclusion. Kill with a borrowed knife as an art form. In the end, kill with a borrowed knife isn't just a tactic for lazy people who don't want to do the work. It's an art form. It's a way to manipulate a situation to get what you want without getting your hands dirty. Like any good strategist, you must choose your borrowed hands carefully and plan each move with precision. Using others to do the dirty work isn't just about playing a power game. It's about skill, patience, and cleverness. And let's be honest, sometimes the greatest victories are the ones you win while standing on the sidelines, watching others fight for you. If you can master this stratagem, you're already on your way to strategic greatness.